Mullet Madjack is an FPS where you play as a guy named Mullet Madjack who must go through a tower to save the princess from the robo-billionaire. And if you do not do this and do not get through the floors within the 10 seconds, you will just immediately die. Shit.
See? You also lost all of your upgrades.
Wait, the reward for dying is a girl talking down to me? Yo, boys, I think we found us the game. In all seriousness, this is a game I found throughout my deployment, and I sunk so many hours that I should have been using to sleep during patrols, but I just could not put this game down. And let's tell you why. So, what's the gist and what's so addictive about the game? The game wants people to feel nostalgic for the 90s. The 2090s. And essentially you play as a guy named Mullet Madjack. He is a silent protagonist, but sometimes not. He has some pretty interesting quips, but we'll get to that later. Basically, a streamer got kidnapped by the robo-billionaires and is up to you, being the Mario, to go up to the tower and find her every 10 floors, but she's always just one step ahead of you. And now, let's get to the really interesting part about this game. Because humanity has been devolved into Subway Surfers and short-form content, this game makes fun of it by making it that if you are not killing or doing cool shit, you will die within 10 seconds. The game requires you, as the player, to come up with creative kills, kicking enemies off ledges, into fans, into electricity, or just kicking them through doors straight up. And headshots and nut shots also make a big difference. And I'm not going to deny that this game is throwing a lot at you in regards to your senses, what you're doing, and the upgrades. But I think we're all here for the weapons, right? Well, the weapons, there's actually a bunch. Now, there is a huge, and I mean huge, range of weapons. You have a simple SMG, revolver, AR, you know, these are all great and stuff, but let's get to the handgun, the literal fucking handgun. And you know what's great is with you being able to upgrade these weapons, you can actually upgrade the handgun to have 3 handguns. Well, you have one on your phone. Yeah, I don't know. But what's cool is in this game, you can actually upgrade the weapons 3 times each for every weapon. And so, we'll look at the revolver. The revolver's fairly simple as a start. It's just a 6-round revolver. But then we throw some pepper and it does more damage. You know, just more damage, nothing big. And then the next upgrade is a belt-fed revolver, which is as stupid as it sounds, but it's actually pretty fucking awesome. But here's the interesting part. This game is not all about just getting through the levels as fast as you can, because, well, you can do that. It's all about getting into that flow. For example, kicking enemies and kind of learning the pattern of, oh, if I see a fan, there's probably an enemy that's going to drop right in front of it. And it's about learning that flow and becoming more and more creative with your kills. Some of the upgrades in the game even highlight this more, giving you bonus time with those. But here's the cool part. You have a get out of jail free card. You can pick up knives, hammers, axes, and use the left trigger, in my case, to use it as a fatal weapon. This stops all time and gives you a full refill on your time. And so keeping this in particular for those last second moments where you see your 3 seconds going down can really save your ass. And trust me, if you're starting out, you're gonna need these a lot. Because here's the kind of fun part. This game doesn't have a traditional health system. If an enemy hits you, it reduces the amount of time you have to live. But if you get into that flow where you're always kind of running on that little edge of like life and death, you'll be able to use these little hammers, these melee weapons, to give yourself that quick reset that you need to get back in your flow. But there's only actually one other way of getting healing, which is through these life sodas. Essentially, when you shoot or kick an enemy into these, they'll start spitting out soda, and this soda is cool because it's a temporary, brief boost of invulnerability, refilling your time, and as long as the animation is still going for drinking and crushing the can, because, you know, you must crush the can, you are perfectly held still in time, meaning that you can keep your aggression while not using any time at all. Now, going back to those upgrades, there's very simple ones that increase your mag size, or really fun ones that make it so you keep your acceleration going through slopes and surfaces. Oh god, alright, let's get to that. Throughout the game, there's, you know, doors, hallways, but there's also these huge ramps that are really fucking fun and feel really cinematic, I would put it. There's even vents. In some cases, some vents can kind of harm you based on your time, but that's where this little upgrade comes in, where it keeps your acceleration to the max speed. And let's talk about acceleration. There's some instances where you can get through levels within like 10 to 15 seconds. The fastest I've gone is 12, but that was during my deployment, and that footage is long gone. But let's get to the actual best part about this game. The stupidly simple story. The simple idea is you're going through a tower trying to find the princess, a streamer that has very large viewership and audience that has been abducted by the robo-billionaire Mullet. And the idea is you're going through 10 floors at a time to find her. But just like the princess in another castle situation, you're always just barely not able to get to her. But instead, each 10 floors giving you a form of a boss fight that is just really enjoyable. But what makes this game so great is simply the fact that it just has a lot of nostalgia and ideas behind it that are so good. There's always pop culture references, and God, some of the lines that the main character says is great. The reason I'm looking at this game is so simple with such good music and such good flow, and it really feels like a game that is just made by people that genuinely like what they're doing. And secondly, this game's on the Game Pass. I would highly recommend you go and get this game. There's so much more I could explain with the game, but the thing is, that's kind of the fun part is, while it's simple, you can make it as complex as you want to be. Well, there you guys have it, Mullet Madjack, an incredible quick, fast-paced FPS that really just shows that games that even don't take up very much space can be a blast to play, and even last you, in some cases, throughout an entire deployment. Peace out, guys. And this game has the hardest hitting final speech. Here you go.
I'm dying. Everything is turning to black. There is no light. There's nothing. I win.